Welcome to the first episode of my podcast, Psychologically Unconventional. I am a Gemini, but you can call me Ray. Before I get into the first topic, right? Before I started this, I was asking people, give me some good topics to talk about while I do a podcast. Reason being was like, just to stay on topic of, to engage with people and see what people are talking about, because I instantly go deep. I go beneath the surface of reality. I like to study the emotions, mental, the our intentions. I like to study all of those things, find out why people do what they do, just by understanding the symbols that make them up, things like that. Like if you go to a swimming pool, right? And you got the 3 to 5 feet, which is the fun part. We can go in that part, we can stand up, we can do whatever we want, dunk each other. But then you got the deep end. That's the part where you have to tread water. In order to stay afloat in the deep end, you got to put in some effort. You know what I'm saying? I relate myself to just the deep end of the pool instantly. I go to the deep end. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, I try to see what type of topics other people want to talk about that might be fun, less deep, more engaging and things like that. But we got to go my way because ain't nobody give me no responses. So first topic, right? First episode, my first topic going to be reality is a projection from within. Reality is a projection from within, right? You think of what's within, what is within us, things that's within us that we can't see, that's intangible. Our thoughts, our feelings, our intuition, things that we can hide from people, right? But these are the things that actually move our actions. You know what I'm saying? If you watch somebody, you can figure out what's going on inside of them just by watching their actions. No matter what they tell you out their mouth, you can watch how a person moves and you can figure out who they really are. You know what I'm saying? Because our actions and our reality is controlled by who we really are within. You know what I'm saying? And to go a step further with that, to understand how reality kind of, how we project reality or create it or manifest it, as you will. First, it starts in the mind. We have a thought, right? Thought has its own energy. So that's where reality starts at from the jump. It starts in the mental. You have a thought, an idea, a vision. You know what I'm saying? But then, in order to actualize that thought, you have to connect it emotionally. You have to bring it down now to your emotional body. You have to feel it. You have to get the emotions, and you have to create that emotional energy that it now takes to really manifest whatever that ideal, whatever that reality you're trying to manifest. Then once you have enough emotional energy, therefore it's now going to become, physical energy. And there you have the reality that you first thought of, you know what I'm saying? But then you had to put those feelings, those emotions behind it, which then, put the actions behind it to actually, to actualize that reality. So first, that's how to understand just a simple way of how reality is a projection from within, no matter what we think. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about what's within is heavier than what's out here. You know what I'm saying? So to say that right, I study psychology, astrology. So I understand the cycles that we go through that shapes our personality and shapes us and mold us into who we're supposed to be, no matter what we think about what we like. So what I mean by that, what's beneath the surface or what's within is more heavier than what's out here. And it'll drag you is when we have certain developmental processes we have to go through, like to compare it to a lake that's deep, right? But it's dark and you can only see what's on the surface, right? And no matter what's on the surface, right, it's decorated with whatever, but that's all that's on the surface. You can't see what's beneath the surface. But, eventually we have to allow certain qualities to come to our surface, to be displayed, to be expressed. You know what I'm saying? But we like to hold on to what we already know, to what we already used to, and what is already working. So when it's time for these qualities to come to the surface, instead of us just naturally going with our gut feelings and these thoughts and our intuition that we having, because we're connected to our path of development, but we just don't listen and trust ourselves, our gut feelings. Now life has to project some type of experience to help get your attention or help shake this quality out of you. Just like that lake. If you shake the lake, then all of a sudden some things gonna start rumbling and come to the surface that you didn't even know was under the surface. So it's the same thing psychologically with us. When I say what's within is heavy. So if it's time for you to learn qualities like independence, that's a big quality now. If it's time for you to learn independence, but for some reason you're not learning it, right? So you're not listening to that gut feeling to just do for yourself. That thought that you just do for yourself. You still want to depend on everybody else. You still want to wait on somebody else to make the first move. Then you're going to be you're going to project some type of experience from within. Now you're going to project some type of experience, some type of reality that's going to force independence on you. And it can come in many different ways. You know what I'm saying? You can be stripped from everybody that takes care of you or whatever the case. So you standing alone, you got to feed yourself. You got to do whatever you was dependent on. You got to do it for yourself now. It could be all types of ways that life will project, or the inner you or that inner world will project that reality, that experience to help gain that quality, because it's that important. No matter what you think or want out here, we see out here and we want so much, and we don't focus on what's in here. So when that inner world starts to move, and now it's like a magnet under the table, it wants to move now, it's time to go over here, but you dragging and you holding on to everything else, then it's gonna drag you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by that. That inner world is heavy, and it's best that we get in touch with it, we listen to it. Therefore, our outer expression will be more harmonious. We wouldn't hang on to things that we know we need to let go of, or we wouldn't neglect certain qualities or neglect certain changes or developmental experiences that we know we need to experience, but we just keep putting it off because whatever. You know what I'm saying? When you get in touch with that inner world, then it's not a secret no more. You see clear as day. It don't make it easy, but now you can see it's clear as day. Okay, this is coming because boom, it must want me to, and you can feel it. Okay, damn, develop this, develop that. You can feel it. All right. So boom, think of like your ass is like the projection screen, right? And I'm gonna use this analogy for, how we might be in a relationship, or we might be in any type of dealing with a person, right? And things are not going right. We're having arguments. It's not harmonious. You know what I'm saying? We're not meeting eye to eye. We're not cooperating. And say for instance, you get with a different person, right? And then it happens again. And then you get with a different person and it happens again. Or a job, right? Same situations or same stresses you have in that one job. You want to go to the next one because you think it'll be better, and then it happened again. So with us trying to run away from our issues, and what I like to call developmental issues, right? When people in any situation talk to me and they're talking about what's stressing them, what's they feel is holding them back and things like that, I only see opportunity. I only see opportunity because I know that's life trying to develop you in some type of way. And if you run from it, if you're trying to look for an easy route, then you're going to project it wherever you run to. Whatever your eyes is focused on, you're going to project that whatever the developmental process is. You know what I'm saying? So going back to independence, boom. So if you're a person and you keep depending on your partner, and you keep but your partner don't want it, so you keep breaking up. You go to this partner, the same thing. You're going to depend on this partner, right? Because it's every single time you're going to project that experience that's trying to teach you. You need to be more independent, and you're not going to have no type of harmonious experience until you do that. That type of thing. So your eyes are your projections, out into this world. You know what I'm saying? So guess I'm saying that to say don't run from your problems, because wherever you go, you're going to project it there. So it's best to just focus on it wherever you at, because it might be worse in another spot. You never know. Astrology gives you a specific timeline, and it does. Astrology, as well as other holistic studies that I might not be aware of. I just study astrology, numerology, psychology. I'm trying to get to some other ologies, you know what I'm saying? But astrology, I know for sure, as complicated as it is, if you know how to read the symbols, then you can put together your personal timeline of what's going on within you, or when developmental experiences will happen. Not to say you can predict your future, the actions or what you might do, but you can see what developmental experiences are going to be going on, or you're going to be focused on at this time. So it's either you're going to be expressing that energy, you know what I'm saying, or it's going to be expressed to you. You're going to be in an environment to where it's trying to pull it out of you and things like that. And then of course, you know, based on your age and all that, we might can pinpoint, okay, damn, there might be this action, or this might be this experience, things like that. But that comes with true honesty, true understanding, and true cooperation back and forth when it comes to the reading. I'm a little off, but that's how astrology can help pinpoint, what reality you're most likely to project. You know what I'm saying? Even though I personally feel that we can control our reality. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Gemini, so I can argue all different sides. You know what I'm saying? I personally feel like we can control our reality by the way we think, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, by how you feel about things. Because think about it. The people who complain, they complain about things all day, every day. They keep projecting that reality on themselves because that's what they're aiming their emotions at, or being mad at whoever making them mad. So you're going to continue to project that reality in which somebody's going to make you mad. You know what I'm saying? So I personally think that we can control our reality if we just can control what we're reacting to, try to control how we're thinking. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? But then I also understand astrology in that there are timelines in which you're going to go through such developmental processes to where your reality might have to change. And, so it's like, damn, that's a whole nother argument right there. Like, so it's like, am I really in control? I don't know. Is it like, or is it like, am I being influenced by the timeline? You know what I'm saying? I think I'm in control that this is what I want to do, but no, this is what the timeline is projecting through me. So really, yeah, I'm expressing or thinking and feeling, based on my developmental. I know that's why I call it psychological unconventional. It go deep, but that's so you got studies in astrology called age point astrology. And that's when basically, if anybody who know astrology, you go around the astrology wheel. Actually, I got the astrology wheel right here. You go around the astrology wheel, and each house represents 6 years. Each house, no matter how big the house, no matter what, it represents 6 years of your life. And you can go through your timeline and figure out your childhood and the things you've been through based on the signs here and the planets in the first house, second house, third house, and things and so forth, and things like that. And you can read the symbols and you can put together a suit of whatever made you up and what is going to continue to make you up. And you can look forward into your life and figure out what developmental processes I'm going to have based on what's coming up for me. That's age point astrology. Then you also got transits, which are the planets in motion right now, at today, right now, in relation to your personal birth chart. So you got the moon, you got the sun. Of course, everybody knows your birthday coming. Then you got Venus, Mars, Mercury, and all the planets on out to Pluto. And they all moving through the planets and the signs. But at certain points, they're going to touch our natal signs and points and planets. And that's going to have an effect on us. You know what I'm saying? Another way to read your timeline. Then you got something called secondary progression, which you look at the time you was born, then you go ahead a day, and that equals a year in your life. You go ahead another day, and that equals another year in your life. So yeah, it get complicated. That's why I say astrology is complicated, but if you're willing to put in and dedicate that time, you could really understand your life. You know what I'm saying? You can study it to understand people, but it's really meant to study to understand self, to get more in touch and tune and with the development of self and why we're here and why self is here first. It's deep. So I already talked about, if you want to gain control of your reality, you got to aim to control your inner world, your emotions, your thoughts, your intentions, how you process and experience. That's the law of attraction. That's basically what the law of attraction is. You're going to attract what you are, period. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to attract something different, then you got to be something different, period. That's just how it goes. It don't get more complicated than that. I mean, more simpler than that. The law of attraction says you attract what you are. We all are vibration. We're vibrating at a certain level, right? And you're going to attract what's on your vibration. If you're on a low frequency vibration, then you're going to attract a low frequency thing, low frequency people and experiences. If you're vibrating high, you're going to attract high frequency experiences. Now, it's not going to be easier, but it's high frequency because you have a mind to understand why the experience is happening, and you can react differently versus being in your lower self and you only seeing the underside, the bad side of it. You know what I'm saying? So you got so based on which level you're on, based on how you vibrate, is what you're going to attract. And we can't get away from that. So it's best that we try to control, like I said, control our thoughts, control how we feel, control what we're reacting to, control how we speaking and how we talking, because that's a vibration. Your tongue creates your reality. You know what I'm saying? Because we put a lot of emotions behind what we say, and then that emotions becomes our reality. Little do we know. We don't have to learn how to manifest. That's like a natural human thing. That's actually, we're not even allowed on certain frequencies and higher planes because we can't control how we think, right? Listen, manifestations could be instant, but we think so much throughout the day, it's all jumbled. What we really want is trying to get to us through a crowd of thoughts, and it can't get to us because we keep pouring out unnecessary stuff. You know what I'm saying? But imagine if we could pinpoint control what we thinking, how we speaking, how we feeling. It wouldn't take we wouldn't have nothing in the way of what we want getting to us. It'd be a straight line. And there are certainly planes of existence where that's real. But we're still learning how to control ourselves in order to then better control our manifestations. I might have went a little off, but it's all good. So yeah, I say that we are already manipulators of energy. We naturally create our reality, whether it's good or bad. Good or bad, we create our reality. Gotta understand that. If you keep thinking about what you don't want, that's what you're gonna get. See, your brain does not understand right from wrong. It understands what is constantly put in it. That's what's it normalizes anything. It's gonna normalize it. So, we done been around what we hate so much, we done normalized it. We done actually became friends with what we hate. We done learned to cooperate with what we hate. That's why we keep creating that reality for ourselves. We keep bringing tomorrow and putting it in front of us by thinking about it. We got to learn to control our mind. It's like looking in the mirror and looking clean past what you see. You got to have, it's a vision you got to have. You know what I'm saying? It's a vision that we got. And that's why time to self, closing your eyes, meditating. Meditating ain't nothing but just letting go. People say, well, I can't meditate. You can't meditate because, well, no. It's not that you can't meditate. You meditate. But see, meditating is, once you sit still, everything is going to start crowding into you now. All the thoughts you done had throughout the day, all the things you done went to, all the music that you done listened to, all the conversations, all that's going to start pouring into your head. That's the meditation. We got to be able to sit through it. But we think the meditation is clearing our mind. Do you know how complicated that is to really clear your head? No, you got to get to the clearing. And if you really want to clear your head, watch what you're doing throughout the day. Be mindful. If you know you're setting up a meditation schedule, try to eliminate anything, any unnecessary intakes. Therefore, when you sit down and be quiet, you don't have nothing crowding your mind. That's how you really control or take advantage or understand how to meditate. You know what I'm saying? Meditating is not trying to clear my mind. It's sitting still. and allowing it to do what it's gonna do, and just sitting there and tuning in. But it's hard for us to tune in because we got a week's worth, a month's worth of stuff just, you know, cramming on us now. You know what I'm saying? So that's big. We limit ourselves with obligations, traditions that we forced to obey or that we emotionally attached to. We limit ourselves with obligations, traditions that we forced to obey or that we're emotionally attached to. This is the age of Aquarius too. We got Pluto in Aquarius. We got Neptune is retrograde, and I think it's on back in about to go back in on Pisces, but it's about to come back in Aries. This is the time to let go of those traditions. This is the time to do something new. You know what I'm saying? This is the time to not limit ourselves by our surroundings, but to dream, but to actually now start to see within and start to manifest that out here. And it's going to create drastic change. And that's what we got to get ready for. And we'll think because things get drastic that it's not going good. But no, if you see a building right there in that space and you want to build something new, you got to knock the building down. So that knocking down process ain't going to be pretty, but it can be organized though. And you can learn to walk with it if you understand and try to connect to that inner wisdom, you know what I'm saying, of self. And you'll learn to walk with it. And it'll be a more easier process. We limit ourselves with the need for security, comfort, and the need to fit in. I mean, that's big right now. We creating the reality that we think we pose to, or we think people want to see, or what's in front of us. What we intake is what we projecting out. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're not in control, because we're not in control of what we're watching. We just watching anything. We just putting anything in front of our face. So that's also limiting our ability to really take control of our reality, because, oh well, if I go inside and do something different, people are gonna look at me crazy. We're worried about what people think, and that's a limit. We can easily change our reality if we just let go of all those needs. Easier said than done. But we're in the age of Aquarius where we're all going through in our own way different experiences and situations where uh, we're being influenced to do just that. It's to start letting go of unnecessary traditions, letting go of unnecessary fears that we hold on to, of just being our individual self, of just being our authentic self, of just expression from within, and not only doing what we see out here. This is the time to do that. Age of Aquarius. It's going to be bad before it be good. But we got to understand that it's a process. True security is within. And if we know that, we'll be able to stand through any type of change that's necessary. True security is within. The house don't make me secure. I make the house secure. And there, that goes for all of us. We have to tap into that. Whatever is necessary, that you know, whatever comes around on my timeline that says that I gotta, you know, make some type of drastic change. That can include the house, that can include the car, whatever it gotta include, then I have to learn to walk with that, because it's some necessary in me taking those steps. And in that, you gotta understand that real security is in me. Wherever I go, in this 1 by 1 square foot circumference that I make up, that's the security. So basically, to sum it all up, I got to get back to it. First episode, I make mistakes. Reality is a projection from within. We got to understand that. First, it starts with our thoughts. We have the thoughts, the imagination. We create it inside our head. Then we get the emotions from it. We feel it. We feel it. We feel it. And because we feel it, we get mad. And anger creates actions. I don't care what people say. I feel like we're like batteries, right? And emotions are like is energy. And when we go through those emotionally challenged situations that we go through, I feel like we can channel that energy. I feel like we can store that energy. Have you ever like tried to open a bottle or open something that was just hard to open and you got mad at it and now it's open because you dug into that inner energy that you had stored from whatever type of emotionally charged situation we might have been through. You know what I'm saying? But think about it's emotionally charged. It's meant to charge us up, and we can use it to give effort towards any type of dream or goal that we want to because we so sick and tired of whatever situation we in. That's how we supposed to use that emotional energy. Period. Astrology, numerology, and other holistic studies can help you understand your most likely projection. What reality you're most likely gonna project. You know what I'm saying? Because we might somebody like me, I come with a lot of planets in the eighth house, a lot of planets in the third house. So therefore, I'm going to most likely project or go through the experience where I'm going to be curious about what people, curious about people in general, how people think, how people move. You know what I'm saying? What's behind people's actions, and then I'm going to have a lot of interactions with people in general. With that, you know what I'm saying? So that's going to be my projection, and is where nobody is alike. Everybody is unique. Everybody has their own makeup. Therefore, everybody is going to project different realities. And before I leave, I want to say something because that brings me to another point. Because we project different realities, everybody is like basically we're like all the extensions from the same source having the experience of itself from different vantage points. So it's like we're all each other. But we don't know. We're so separated that we don't think that we're connected, but in truth we are. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like my 4 fingers, right? And I know this is a crazy example, but if you ain't know that these fingers was connected to a hand, you see them and I can move them individually, you think they are individually, but they can now connected to the hand. You know what I'm saying? But they all got so lost up here, they think they're individuals. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we are. And because of that, we argue a lot about point of view, what I think versus you think. You wrong, I'm wrong. Think about if we all looking, or 2 of us, 3 of us looking at a building and we stuck on one side of the building. That's how we be stuck on one side of the perspective or the understanding, or we just stuck on what we think and not able to step out of what we think to then understand the deeper parts of things. I'm looking at one side, he looking at one side, he looking at one, and we all told to describe this building. And I'm gonna describe only the side I see. That's my perspective. He gonna describe only the side he see, and then same for that guy over there. And my side is different from each side, and we gonna argue that no, you wrong. That ain't how the building look. But that's what we do out here, though. We're meant to connect to each other like puzzle pieces. That's how we're going to really find out the true meanings of life. Because I got a perspective. Another person got a perspective. And we all got different vantage points of the same thing. If only we would just learn to listen and not judge. Just because somebody tell you their story don't mean you have to change your life, change your beliefs. Listen to the story. Take the jewels out of it and keep it moving. I'm gone. That's my first episode right there. Psychologically unconventional. Thank you.